I assume that you know how to create this whole form using all the items in your toolbox on the left and um, remembering to name it correctly in this section. Oops. Um, so let me just show you what, just for the sake of understanding the code, I'm going to label these on the form. So this one I called text age. This one is group category or whatever. And then for each of the radio buttons, you name them like radio toddler, etc. This one was text fee. This one was text total. And over here we have button cost. So now if we look at the code, let's go to my code. First, you start off creating the public class, and you do that, if I remember correctly, by double clicking in your Visual Basic program. You just double click on cost and then it will open up this public class form entrance for you, and then you can start code within that section. So you're using your dim statement to save a variable, the variable's count, and I'm saving it as an integer, and the integer will start off as 0. Then I saved total fees, because each time we click this button after adding the age, selecting a category and entering the amount in there, you click on calculate cost, and then it should save the total amount, but we'll start off as 0. Oh, sorry, this is where if you double click on button, it will create this sub procedure for you. So private sub procedure, button cost click, and then we don't need to enter that, it happens automatically. Handles button cost click, and then inside here again. So these variables need to have like a global scope, so that all the other sub procedures can have access to these numbers, but inside the button we only need specific variables. So we use our dim statement to save the age variable, and age is going to be an integer. You need to specify that. The age we get from the form. So when you type in, like, say 27, once you click the button, it will collect the age from your text box, and it does that by using the text age, which is the name. Remember, I named this text age. Text age dot text tells the program what is written inside, what text is inside this text age text box. But because text boxes uses numbers and letters, we want to make sure that we convert that to an integer by using convert to int and then whatever is inside the text box, so that we can do calculations with that. I'm going to save the entrance fee variable using my dim statement. Entrance fee is the name I chose for the variable, and this is going to be a decimal because it is a currency. Because currency obviously has like 50 rands and 20 cents, so there will be like a comma, so it needs to be a decimal. We get that number from the text fee. So remember, this one is the text fee text box. Text fee.text gives you what's inside the text box, but we need to convert that to a decimal, because once again, a text box has numbers and letters that can be entered into that text box, but we want to specifically convert it to a decimal number so that we can do calculations with it. Right, okay. So this part is going to, when you, it's going to validate our form, so that when you enter an age, it first checks if the age is greater than, no, sorry, if the age is less than 1, meaning it's a 0 or a negative, you will get a message box that pops up. And you do that with message box.show, and then in brackets, you type in what do you call this, inverted commas, you type in the actual message. So the message will be age cannot be 0 or negative. So if at any point, if the age is 0, then show the message, else, so it checks if the age is not less than 1. So if it is 1 or above, it goes, the program starts reading the lines within the else block. So then we will say count is equals to count plus 1. So we're using the compound, or what do you call this? Sorry, I forgot. But it basically means count is equal to count plus 1. But the short version, the short way to write that is count plus equals 1. So let me just write here. It's the same as count is equals to count plus 1. So that is exactly the same thing as that. All right, so we started count with 0. This is just to keep track of how many ages we entered, and this will help with the next part of the question. All right, total fees. Remember, it started off as 0. It's just a way to keep track of what the total fees are. So it starts off at 0, and then we're going to add the entrance fee. Entrance fee, remember up here, is what we entered into the text box. So text box fee.text is what's inside here, inside this box. We want to add that to the starting amount, which was 0. Because obviously before this we haven't added any entrance fees yet. So the entrance fees start at 0. So the variable I'm using to record the entrance fees, or the total entrance fees, is total fees. And then we're going to add what entrance fee was input into the text box over here. Right, so that will now be 0 plus, let's say, 200. Text total.text. So if we look back at our interface, text total is this box over here. So you want to display the total amount after you click the button. So text total.text equals total fees, which is the variable that we use to save the latest updated number of what the total amount of the fees are. So total fees dot toString, because this is a number that's now in the computer's memory. Like, it will now remember, okay, the total fees, which was 0, plus the entrance fees, which is 200, is now 200. So total fees is now 200. We need to take that 200, convert it to a string, so that we can add that to the text box, which takes strings and numbers. But because we want it to display as a number, we're going to, in brackets, put N2, which means number, with 2 decimal. The 2 means there will be 2 decimals in that number. Okay, and after we've done that, we obviously want the form to clear, so we're going to say text age, which is this one over here, text age.clear, which clears the text box, text fee.clear, which also clears this text box over here. Remember, it was called text fee. All right, and that's the end of that section. So let's see. Okay, I'll go on to the next section.